Welcome back to another edition of the Soul 21 Street Radio Show. I'm your host, as always, T.G. Ryans, and I'm live in studio from Soul 21, the retail store located in Northwest Mall, Houston, Texas, with my co-hosts Malik Jackson and Arthur Jenkins. Now, I'm excited. I'm excited tonight. I'm excited about this topic tonight. This is a controversial topic. This is a topic that has been discussed all over the globe. This topic has been discussed in restaurants. It's been discussed in barbershops and beauty salons. And tonight, we're going to bring it to the forefront. And that topic that I'm talking about is the hood versus the world. I'm going to say it for you again. It's the hood versus the world. Okay. Now, is there an agenda to separate both of these two and destroy one forever? I mean, me personally, I think that there is. I think that there is an agenda that they have out there that we don't know about, that we better start waking up to possibly separate the world, being corporate America, being anything other than minorities, being the wealthiest people of the world, of the upper echelon of wealth of the world. The hood, of course, being mostly African-American, Hispanic, male population, being categorized as the hood. I really do believe that there's an agenda to separate both and to eventually destroy one of them. And to really bring these points home tonight, I have my trusty co-host, the always intellectual Malik Jackson.
Yeah, Malik Jackson, CEO of Malik Fragrances.
And my other intellectual, as always, very well spoken, Arthur Jenkins.
All right, Arthur Jenkins, man, glad to be here.
So I'm going to start with you, Malik. What do you think? Is there an agenda to divide the hood and the world and destroy one?
Well, the thing it is that it always been a separate, with the hood versus the world, and I look at it like this, you cannot separate the two because the hood is part of the world. And the thing it is that you have people, this hood thing is a mentality. And for us to, to understand, to be a part of this world, that you can't separate the two because the two you're a part of the world. And the things that we do in the world and what we bring to the world. Because everybody that you see in society now, you take the hip-hop generation, which was part of the hood, but it brought it to the part of the world. So everybody is dressing hip-hop, they're talking hip-hop, they're acting hip-hop. So you cannot take and separate the two, even though they've been trying to. But when you try to separate something, and what are you really doing is bringing it together.
Arthur, what do you think about that? Is there an agenda to separate these two, the hood from the world, and eventually destroy one of the other?
Is there an agenda? I think so. And to maybe vary on what Mr. Jackson is saying, I understand what you're saying, that we're a part of it. Yes, you are physically a part of it, but are you a part of the grand scheme of things? And I would say no.
Okay.
And that's why I feel like there is a divide there,
Well, you hear from coast to coast, you hear, when I say coast to coast, I mean from down south, east coast, west coast. You hear this topic of discussion on their television shows, on their radio shows. You hear people all the time saying that, from the hood especially, saying, well, the world is us against the world. Tupac made that famous when he said it was him against the world. And ever since then, you've been really hearing everyone saying this is me against the world, it's me against the world. Exactly what does that mean, though? I mean, let's go a little deeper into that. What exactly does that mean, you being from the hood versus the rest of the world? How is there a war between the two?
The reason why they say this, when Tupac brought it up, me against the world, meaning that you're bringing your, what we call hood-onomics to the world. Something that they don't want to be brought, your language, the clothing, the way that you act. I mean, it's not saying that we're separate, but it's the culture that we're bringing. And sometimes people just don't want certain people culture. But as living in America, you have different types of culture. This is a melting pot. So when the hood mentality Not mean that's all bad. When you bring it to the world, it's something that they didn't want at the time because it was going to intervene with their children. And when I mean with their children, we already know what we're talking about. So as time came along, their children became buying more hip hop than anybody. So the thing about it is that you cannot separate the hood from the world because it's a part of the world. You cannot separate the two because we bring, well, I'm not going to say just we, but I'm just going to use it geographically speaking, that it brings fashion, it brings the music, it brings the environment, and it brings a lot of the entertainment. That what you see, because these are what they're demanding, things that was from the hood.
Okay, I understand exactly what you're saying there. My issue with that is we bring all of that to the table, but what do we get from that table? Okay, yes, we're entertaining. Yes, people copy our style. Yes, people copy our language. People copy our dance move. All that means nothing in the grand scheme of everything, because you know what all it equals up to? Nothing. We own less than 1% of the world's wealth. I don't care about all the other stuff. And it's not me against the world, which is a song I love, but I would much rather hear us against the world. Because for us to do anything, we've got to bring some unification in here.
I agree with you on that. And I want to ask you too, now, what do you think about these companies that they say that the hood residents have made popular, like from the liquor companies to even your biggest clothing designers? You know, you hear the rumors all the time where they say, well, hey, we don't want you hood people endorsing these products. What do you think about that?
Oh, yes, they do, because it's all about the cash flow. Now, if you see Ludacris brung some liquor out, you see Jay-Z brung some liquor out, I mean, they will tell you that they don't want this, but they do because it's all about a cash flow. Let me tell you something. The hood versus the world is simply saying that, okay, we want to keep you separate, but we like your cash. You understand what I'm saying? So if we like your cash, we want you to bring this particular, particular thing to our part of the world. We want to keep this out. So, I mean, you cannot just separate the two. And the thing about it is that you just have to look at it for what is a mentality of all of it.
Well, again, when you say separate the two, actually, we are here.
But you can't.
We're here, but in my eyes, America is still one of the most divided countries in this world. We are physically here, and we have, quote unquote, integrated, but have we truly integrated? You know, since integration, what has happened with the hood, per se? We've lost ownership. We've lost control of any economic resources. We don't own anything that has to do with education. So we're losing out. Yes, we're here, but we're still losing out.
Now, I'm going to tell you because of that. Now, look at the population in the hood, that grandma and grandfather left children, houses, land. What do? We lose on our own. We always say we blame the white man for this and blame him for that, but we lose on our own because what we don't do, we don't keep it up. So the reason why we lost ownership is because we don't take responsibility of understanding how to take care of business.
I don't disagree with that. I'm simply saying, even with that being said, and that is a true statement.
It's a hood mentality.
That's a true statement. But we still have to get to the underlying surface of what's going on that's helping these mentalities. This is what I'm saying. Where's these mentalities coming from? What's underlying here? Where's this divide coming from?
A lack of environment, lack of what's going on in the environment.
Now, if they truly separate these two and destroy one, eventually we don't know which one. Okay, let's say if it's the hood, where are they going to put these people? Are they going to lock some up, or some going to just be eliminated? What would happen to these people?
Well, let me just get this first. I want to get this out. It's no such thing as a ghetto. It's no such thing as a ghetto. When people build complexes, when they build homes, Section 8, these are nice buildings. These are nice homes. These are nice. What tears them down is the hood mentality of the people. Everybody is not hood, but we have got a sense of learning this from environment, and environment have took us under because we have no one educating the young people, the young men and young women of today, to let them know, to understand how to plan goals, how to set plans, how to strategize, and how to own business.
But if those so-called ghettos are not ghettos, what are they?
They are mentality. You tear things down with your mind. You take the same people, just say if you move these people out and you put another set of people in there, would that still be a ghetto? No, it won't. Ghetto come from the word, of the Jewish word, when they put them in concentration camps. And we took over that of putting in and saying the ghetto with a mindset and understand this is what we're tearing up, because we figured that we can't have anything as being a people. So what do we say? Nobody wants to live bad. I don't care who you is. But the thing it is that we have to first get the hood mentality out. It's not saying that you didn't grow up. We know we come from, where we come from is, but it's all about where we going. Visualizing, you know what I'm saying? Strategizing, using plans, envision your plan and working your plan and coming out of there so you can come back and help somebody and grab somebody else.
Okay, and I hear everything you're saying, and I won't disagree with it. I'm just going to get back to this point, which is saying there is a divide, there is an agenda put in place, and we're looking at it, and you're seeing the results of it in today's time. Now, as far as the mentality of people, all I'm simply saying is, where did this mentality start? Was there a plan put in place to eliminate people? Sure it is. You see it in disease. You see it in the prison population. You see it in the incarceration right now, especially of African Americans. So you're seeing the divide. You're seeing where they're rooting out from the bottom up to the top. And if they consider us to be at the bottom, this is where it started. So you got us to basically make ourselves extinct.
Okay, that sounds good. That's real valid. I like both points from both of these two gentlemen. Now, I'm gonna ask you, everybody listening to us around the globe.
Yes, sir.
Okay, what do you think? Okay, is there an agenda to separate the hood from the rest of the world and possibly destroy one or the other? What do you think? You're listening to the Soul 21 Street Radio Show. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Soul 21 Street Radio Show. T.G. Ryans, Malik Jackson, Arthur Jenkins, live in studio. Soul 21, the retail store, Northwest Mall, Houston, Texas. Now, we've been talking about the hood versus the world. Okay, we just got through with the segment, discussing, is there an agenda to divide the two and destroy one or the other forever? And now we're going to get into hood economics, okay? Because I myself believe that corporate America does depend on these so-called residents that live in these so-called hoods, okay? Meaning this, when they go buy those tennis shoes that are $150 and $200, okay, who's raking that money in? It would be corporate America, okay? When they go to those fried chicken places that you put up in the neighborhoods, it's not a lot of hood residents owning them. So who's owning them? Okay, when we go in there and we buy that chicken, okay, that you say we eat so much of, when we go and we buy that alcohol, because none of us own a Specs or any kind of liquor store, really. So that money's going to who? Is going to corporate America. Okay, so there would have to be a so-called dependency on people in the hood. Okay, there are people in the hood that will go and they will spend immense amounts of money on these goods and these products and even some of these services that corporate America provides. So I would have to say, me, myself, that there is a hidden, a untalked about dependency on the so-called hood.
Listen, I mean, that goes back further, as we can even talk about cars. I mean, you look at these movies, back in the 70s with Superfly and the Mac and all that, man. When they seen cars like that with brothers fixed up, I mean, Chevy and Ford and Lincoln and all these people, they start dressing them cars like that. They ride around the hood and find out what to put on the cars and then sell it to us, back to us. So the thing about it is, you gonna need the hood, because that's why you find your ideas. Because we know the people who's spending the money.
Right. Do they necessarily need us, or do they necessarily use us? And what I'm saying by that is this right here. Blacks economically do support everything because we are spenders, we are buyers, we are consumers. Well, especially, in blacks and Hispanics, anywhere you get into the minority neighborhoods, we are more consumers. At least, though, in the Hispanic community, I got to say, they try to own at least the food trucks and, support their own communities, whereas a lot of us, unfortunately, have lost our way when it comes to that. Yeah. So we are backbone these people. Yeah, we buy the Jordans, and yeah, we buy all the clothes and everything like this here, and we keep taking our money and giving it away and giving away the economic power. Yes. And these people have it, and they control the wealth. So I'll say to you like this, anybody's listening. If you're a fisherman and you fish in a stocked pond is where you go and it's artificially made by man, and they put fish in and you go fish. Well, in order for that pond to survive, they have to keep stocking it. Well, if they never stock that pond and you keep going to throw your rod out there, you ain't going to get nothing out of it, so you just basically waste your time. You're going to take your bait and basically just throw it away. You're going to throw your money away. This is what you're doing in America. You're taking your money and throwing it into a stocked pond that they are not replenishing. You are basically giving away all of the economic power because you refuse to hold it, use it, and build your own base.
Now, how do we get some of the younger people, some of the younger minorities that are classified hood, meaning the African-American young men and females, the Hispanic young male and females? Okay, how do we get them started? Where does this start at? Does this start with education? How does education play a part in this?
Education plays a part. First of all, I'm all for education, but I always said this, that self-education is the key. School education is great. Don't get me wrong. I love it. I tell anybody, if you're having a college education, you go get it, but still self-educate yourself, because that's what's going to get you over the hump. Now, the thing about it is we have to start educating these younger people to learn how to set goals and making them visualize. When you start using the mind to grow, then you can use the mind to do anything that what you accomplish. And what we're doing now is that we have fell back from that. You know what I'm saying? We have to really get back into these youngsters' lives and show them, especially in the Black and Hispanic communities, and show them that, hey, you can visualize something as high as the sky. Just put your mind to it, put your goal, make your plan and work that plan. And let me tell you this here. I was listening to a video today I think it was Jay-Z. It was a law of attraction thing. I was playing it all day. And he said one big thing that caught my eye. Patience with persistence will always win.
Well, there are 7 senses. There's 5 to the human body. There's taste, touch, sight, hearing, and smell. And there's 2 to the mind, which is book sense and common sense. And anybody hear my voice right now, please choose common sense first. And I'm going to leave it at that.
Right.
Okay, common sense. What do you have to say to the so-called people that would be categorized under the world, saying that, well, the hood people, they don't want the books that we put out. They don't want the education that we put out for them to do what we do. They want to stay in the same situations that they're in, and they don't want these great jewels that we cast out there for them to grab. They don't pick them up. They just kick dust over them and keep going. Would you say that that's true or untrue?
I got to say this, and I know I'm for the rope some fellas when I say this, but I can't hold my peace no more. I tried. I'm going to be honest with you. A lot of us have not because we work not. Let's just put it out there, and let's call a spade a spade. A lot of us are happy sitting on our you-know-what's, complaining. We're not trying to put in the work. We don't want to use our mind. We don't want to use our resources. We want stuff given to us, and even when it's given to us, we still complain about that because we don't appreciate nothing. And until this starts to change, until the mentality changes, until we sit back and decide first and foremost for self, what is it that I want? What is it I'm trying to do? And put a plan together just like Mr. Jackson said and try to go after that plan, the same thing's going to keep repeating itself. It's just not going to change.
That's right. I believe that if we, and I agree with what you just said, that's a really good, valid point. But, I think that also if we ever would get together and put our money together, pool the resources together, maybe we can make some things happen. You see them all the time. They'll go buy a 5-piece chicken dinner and you put $2 in and the other guy put $2 in, and they'll sit there and share that. But when it comes time to start a business, start a company or an enterprise, even on a small scale, they won't even put their money together and make something happen. Now, I have to criticize the so-called hood people for that. I have to.
Well, the reason why they do that, because like I say again, self-taught, you know what I'm saying? You got to understand. And I have an old mentor used to always tell me, say, the apple don't fall too far from the tree.
No.
So if you haven't taught that kid anything, and their parents, then how you know they're going to teach their kids anything? The thing about it, we have to get back on the road of teaching these kids how to set goals and how to plan and how to visualize the life that they want. And if we don't get back doing that, then we're going to have a generation of a failed generation. And the thing about it is, we have more business people that's coming along. You see these dentists and lawyers and businessmen and businesswomen and teachers, and you see these younger people. We have to keep encouraging them. Education is the key, but like I just said again, self-education, that's the best key that you could have.
Let me say this. Let's get into basic numbers real quick. Blacks make up 14% of the population of the United States.
Right.
Hispanics make up 17% of the population of the United States. Yet and still, blacks make up 35 to 40% of the prison population. Hispanics on the scale, 17 to 18% of the population. Now, let's do hardcore numbers here, people. We talked about an agenda. I want to get back to the agenda that we was talking about here. Education on the average for the United States, a college education for 1 year for an in-state resident is $9,000 a year. For an out-of-state resident, $22,000 a year. That sounds like a lot of money. I get that. The average cost for one prisoner, 1 year, $31,000 in this country, which means these people would rather pay money to keep you in prison than to educate you. And you want to say there's no agenda?
We're getting back to this here, Mr. Jenkins. I understand what you're saying, too, and you're right about that. But we go talk about education. That's the reason why you just have your local libraries. If they don't want to educate you, you educate yourself. You could take the most person who didn't know how to probably read and write. And you look at these people and you say, wow, you see their story and they became successful in life. Well, what they did was they knew how to count. They knew how to count. Now, the thing it is that they taught themselves how to read later on down the line by somebody saying who tutored them, somebody who educated them, and they went out and did what they had to do. Now, the thing about it is, I always say self-education because we always depend on someone to educate us. We come from a history of who we used to educate people.
I agree.
The Timbuktu. I mean, you're looking at the Mali Empire.
The Greeks studied at the feet of the African philosophers. We know this here. Not a lot of people don't. Right. And I will definitely give you that so you're getting no argument from me there. Unfortunately, what I'm talking about is today's time. And I'm finna say something that's finna rattle some feathers too. Some black folks, some white folks, and everybody else. Integration. The effects of integration has been one of the worst things that has happened, especially in the black community. And I said that, and I'm gonna stand on that, and can't nobody tell me no different. It just has been. It has been detrimental to us because the mentality that we took after we thought we had made it was, guess what? We didn't want to go to mom and pop store and shop no more. We wanted to go to the big store. But
I'm finna tell you something about integration too. Integration had its goods and had its bads. Because you know why? Because if I'm just serving you, you eating at my place, I see you every day. Okay, I can't get my cuisine or my clothing or my goods out to everybody else. America is a melting pot. So for you to become successful in America, you got to let everybody else see what you have.
Well, first off, how do we define success? Yeah. Let's go back to that.
Right.
Well,
because we all looking for that.
We can't give our goods to nobody else, but guess what we got now? We ain't got no doggone goods to give nobody else because they got it, and they the ones that own all of the goods. We don't have anything.
Yeah, we still have goods. We have to create goods. See, the world and things that you create in your mind, you have to create that. You understand what I'm saying?
I like your philosophy, Mr. Jackson, because you are a businessman. I understand that. You are a businessman. You are a go-getter, and I respect you for it. Unfortunately, a lot of people don't share your mentality or your business acumen, nor your will and your drive.
You're also a go-getter, too.
I understand.
You just don't know how you be sounding on this here radio show, man. You got a lot of good wisdom, bruh. So if you bring it to it, and if you apply that, just see how far that actually you might go.
Well, I'm still going to get back to there are people who own and there are people who work. I am a worker.
No, you own it. You put yourself as a worker. See, that's the mentality right there. Starting right there. You a worker. You supposed to say you're an owner because see that little kid. He wants to own something. If you want to own something, you got to own it in your mind first before you own it physically.
Well, what I'm saying is this. I'm not saying that I don't or that I have no plans to. I'm talking about present state right now.
Right.
I'm just only talking about present state.
Right. You got it.
And what I'm saying is I don't want to get too far off the track here. We want to get back to this agenda, thing. And we're looking at a time when you don't go from self-contained with everything against you and still flourishing to having all of the freedoms and the perks of the world and falling behind without there being a mishap or misunderstanding or some misdirection somewhere. If you don't turn that coin, it don't go from head to tail like that unless somebody flip it.
Okay.
And something had to happen. If we were behind with everything that was against us, from slavery to Jim Crow to had to be self-contained and flourishing to now all of a sudden integration that came in, we can go to the colleges. So now we're going to the USCs of the world. Everybody walking around with USC in North Carolina. When the last time you see somebody with a Prairie View jacket on? When the last time you see somebody with a Jackson State jacket on? These are the institutions that help build our communities that we have now abandoned because we got time to go to the Ohio States of the world.
But now check it out. Prairie View has the most knowledgeable, upscale engineering
Who supports Prairie View A&M University?
Hold on, Prairie View is actually up under Texas A&M. But what I'm saying is they have a very good engineering program. TSU, one of the best pharmacy schools there. It's just that what we do as being African Americans playing sports, we want to get to the Texas and the USCs and the UCLAs, and because of the being seen on TV getting better scholarships and going to pro. Because we figure we won't go to pro if we're playing for Prairie View, TSU, and these schools that help us build over the hump. So that's coming from a sports agenda. But we're talking about an economically business aspect that we have to learn that these schools are really some major schools because that's the top pharmacy school damn near in the world, TSU. And when you graduate with your engineer degree from Prairie View, you could damn near go anywhere and anybody would hire you.
Well, I'm going to say this here. What I meant by that is I agree with you as far as the athletics go. But you know what happened with the athletics? The athletics is what bring in the money to these institutions.
Right.
That's why these big schools are still flourishing and who's supporting our smaller black or mostly black universities.
Right.
Government subsidies.
Right.
Just like when you get into other things like welfare and all these other programs, these are government subsidies, which means who supports it.
Well, you know who brought welfare in? You want me to tell you who brought welfare in?
I'm not talking about.
No.
I'm saying.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm saying how are these things supported? They are supported by those who are out here working. The people that work. This is where your tax money goes.
Right.
Okay. So now what's starting to happen? You're starting to see now people are losing jobs at massive rates. Companies are being outsourced overseas. So what's going to happen when the middle class who supports the country is faded out? What's going to happen? You're going to simply have the haves and the have-nots. And the haves is going to be a very small select few people as opposed to the have-nots.
I just want to say this here. To change the system, you have to get in the system. What we have to do is that we start thinking like these millionaires and billionaires, and we start hiring these people that need the jobs. That's what we have to do.
I'm with you, but who's doing the hiring? Right. If we don't own anything, we can't hire anybody. This is still getting back to that same point. If we're not owning anything, we can't hire anybody. And once we phase this out, then we in trouble.
It's the hood versus the world. The Soul 21 Street Radio Show will be right back.
Yeah.
Welcome back to the Soul 21 Street Radio Show. I'm your host, T.G. Ryans. Malik Jackson, my co-host, my other co-host, Arthur Jenkins, live in studio, Soul 21, the retail store, Northwest Mall. Now, we've been talking about the hood versus the world. We talked about it being a possible agenda to separate the two and destroy one of the two. We talked about the hood economic dynamics. And now we're going to get into athletes and rappers. And why are athletes and rappers the two most popularized, careers or professions or what have you that are promoted in the so-called hood? Why is it that this is all that they give the minorities, the African-American male, female? Why is it that this is what they pretty much offer or show the way of to the Hispanic male and females when they show the people of the world how to be computer software designers, to be heads of corporations and things of that nature. Why is it that it's always athletes and rappers?
I'm gonna tell you why. First thing I'm gonna say is BET. You got to add the strippers in there too, because that's what they give us. You know, they give us the athletes, the rappers, and the strippers. And this is why you catch most of these young girls want to be strippers, and most young guys that want to be rappers and athletes, which I don't have a problem with that. If anything has to do with success, and hey, and you've been trying to play ball all your life, and you've been trying to get that record deal, hey man, go for it. I'm all for it. But the reason why we don't go and try to be doctors and lawyers and engineers anymore, and being that business person owning companies, because of the stuff that they put on TV, that what we're watching.
You say the reasons why. I agree with you there, and I'll give you two reasons why. Programming, which equals control, and money, which is also a form of control. This is why. Because they've taught us to be throw a ball, run a ball, shoot a ball, dunk a ball, rap, jump around, buffoon, sing, and all this kind of slide down the pole, up the pole, and all this here. When was the last time they told you? We know all the top football players, right? How many of us know who own these teams? Right. We know all of the rappers. How many of us know who the head of Universal and Sony and all of these companies are? The billionaires. Not just the millionaires, but the billionaires.
I agree with you on that. You know, it's not that I have anything against athletes. It's not that I have anything against rappers. My point is, why is it that these are the only two professions that they show these kids? Why don't they tell them that you can own a team? Why don't they tell them that you can actually own or be the next Motown or what have you?
If the people at the top, they have an agenda. So you think they're going to let you get in there and get in their club?
Right.
They gonna put you in a part of the wealth, not the rich, but the wealth. Right. You understand?
Well, see, the thing it is that you become competition for me now, and not just for me, but for my children that I'm leaving this here for. So what I'm trying to tell you is that you can have that ball team, because people don't understand what's his name, a guy, El Hyman. In boxing right now, got all the fighters, a black guy. And what he's trying to do now is bring fighting back to Channel 11, which he's taking over. He's got all the good fighters. Now, he owns a lot of the fighters, and he's black. So people have to understand that you have a lot of black ownership that's out there, but we don't look for that, because what they show us on TV is that, you know, image that they want you to see.
He manages the fighters. What I'm talking about, though, is the Robert Krafts of the world. These people who are billionaires and diverse past football and basketball and all of these type of things.
But it's inheritance, man. A lot of that's inheritance, man. A lot of that's inheritance. When we say that we can be that same people if we just change our mindset, man. That's what's holding a lot of black people back, their mindset. I don't care what nobody say. Our mindset is holding us back a lot.
Well, I personally think that they're enjoying it. They like it just how it is, where they get to sit up and watch the athletes go at it on the field, on the court, whatever, and then collect all the money on the back end. Which I'm not knocking any of these owners for being owners. It is what it is. But I'm saying that why can't we popularize us not just being the athletes as Hispanic and African American male and women, but why can't we be these owners too? Why can't we go hard and just go in and be owners?
I think because what we do, we don't even go that way. We are too busy supporting, and we are too busy to try to knock one another, you know, and still trying to, and instead try to come together and grow as being a people. You understand what I'm saying? So we can also, because they did the same thing. That's how they grew. They invested with each other. Don't just think it's just one person owning no team. Right. They all come together and put together and invest. You know, so we have to learn that same method. The rules don't change. The methods don't change. It's the mindset that changes.
And we don't want to court there. I would definitely agree with you that it has to stop. So we had to start getting back to the mentality of not being on $1 million hunt, but $1 billion hunt. What I mean by that, I'm simply saying this. If you are a millionaire, stop throwing your money away. You don't need 2 Bentleys. You don't need 5 houses. You don't need that. Take some of this money and put it away for your kids. so that they can grow up and be millionaires, and then their kids can grow up and be multimillionaires, and their kids can grow up and be multi-millionaires, and their kids can become billionaires. We're not planning for the future. We're not worried about our grandkids and great-grandkids, and that's what these people got us beat at, because they are laying up for the generations that's coming after them, so that they name and legacy and their money will keep living and keep going. We're worried about today and now, and we're not worried about tomorrow. If we worried about 20 years from now instead of tomorrow, then we'll have a different mindset and we'll do different things. We'll plan differently.
How many of these kids are really going to make it as the next platinum rapper? How many of these kids are going to really realistically make it as the next superstar athlete? There are some that will make it, but how many? What is the ratio for that?
Less than 5%, if you ask me. I'll say less than 5%. And you talk to a guy who had football dreams. You couldn't tell me I wasn't NFL bound. I was the baddest thing. They would put on some cleats in the jersey. And I was pretty good at it too. But the dream didn't come true. Why? Well, many reasons, but one is definitely poor planning and poor outlook.
Well, I'm going to put it like this here. I'm not going to say less than 5%. This is what I'm going to say. It's like when you take a dip in that pool. When you go into up against that basket, when you go into that goal line, it's all about who wants it the most. It's all about what you visualizing that you're going to be the best at. If all the people, now everybody is not going to make it, but if you have the entitled that you're going to make it, you're going to do it no matter what, then I'm all for it. So I just think that sometimes it could be more than 5%, maybe, if everybody put their mind, but we understand coming out of college, going to pro, and becoming successful, I can probably agree with you and say yes, maybe 5%.
Yeah, because there's only so many places at the table.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just, there's only so many places at the table, so everybody's not going to get there. And we definitely understand that.
Yeah, well,
but again, I want to divest. Let's go back. Let's go back to why these people are so popular and why these people are flash in front of us. Television programming, radio programming. These things are called programming for a reason, people. They're programming for a reason. I want y'all to understand that. We're so busy, they got us so caught up in reality shows, which is a bunch of nonsense, and I almost said another word. They got us so caught up in technology of today that we don't think.
Yeah.
We react, we act on, but we don't think.
Right.
People don't have the patience for books.
Right.
People don't have the patience to sit down and talk and plan. They have the attention span of a mosquito. It's ridiculous. And when you try to tell somebody about it, then they want to come at you with every reason why you're wrong and everything like this. This is why our mentality is so twisted. The kids that's going to school, that's speaking proper English, that's actually trying to go, we want to knock them. We want to bring them down. And a lot of times it's really because we want to be them. They are strong enough to get out here in the middle of all this and still have a plan and a goal and go for it, while a lot of us take the easy way out, which is doing nothing. And this is what we do. And because we take these ways and do nothing, we have nothing. Nothing comes to a sleep but a dream. And if you won't get out there and work, and both of you guys are business owners, know it takes some work to make those dreams come true.
Well, you're a business owner too, Mr. Jenkins.
It takes a lot of work to make these dreams come true. And my thing is that I want these kids to know that you can be a lawyer. If you want to be a lawyer, go ahead and be that lawyer. If you're a bookworm and throwing the football, catching the football, shooting the basketball, dribbling the basketball, even the baseball, any minority, Hispanic to black, I want to let you know that if you want to be a lawyer, go ahead and be that lawyer. It brings balance to the world. Right. Who knows? Some of these athletes may need you to take millions of dollars from them to get them out of some bad circumstances later on down the line. You never know.
Well, how about this? Everybody's not going to be an athlete. You can study sports medicine.
That's right.
You can study physical therapy.
That's right.
You understand? You can study kinesiology.
Great.
You can do all of these other things out here. See, first off, we got to stop equating success with money. Right. Money does not make you successful. Money means you have some money. Does not make you successful.
Right.
Okay? Success is having a goal and seeing that goal through and planning and going for that goal. If you want to be a construction worker, then by all means be a construction worker. Some people are good with hands. Some people are mechanics. Mm-hmm. Okay? Well, maybe instead of just being a mechanic and being content, maybe you want to own your own mechanic shop.
That's what I'm saying.
You understand what I'm saying? This is what I'm saying about the mentality. This is why they coming at us with the fame and the wealth. They keep showing us all these people with the money because they got us chasing these $1 million dreams, knowing most of us will never get to that point.
No, don't never say that. See, that's killing another kid's dream now. Cut that out. Because let me tell you something. When we say we would never get there, that's another thing. You know what? When I started my business, they told me I was going to fail. You know what? Hold on. Matters all that. I had to get out there and show them that they was a lie. Matter of fact, matter all that. Because I had a grandmother. You know what my grandmother told me? This is what she told me. She say, stop telling your business to everybody.
Okay. First off, let me come. I got to defend myself here. I was not saying that. I was saying they are showing you. No, you got me before I got a chance to finish it. I'm simply saying they're giving you these dreams of athletes and rappers because they want you to chase those dreams, knowing that the majority of y'all are not going to be Lil Wayne, Nicki Minaj, and Drake, and most of y'all are not going to be Russell Wilson and these other people. So what happens? We start chasing the money, which means eventually we want money because money becomes our mentality. So now what's next? I'm not going to throw a ball, but I can sling these rocks real good and make some money. I can go out here and rob people and make this money. They're not showing you the hard work that Russell Wilson and even Lil Wayne, that these people had to go through. They don't show you what it's like to be on that tour grinding. Yeah. You don't know. All you see is you rapping, but you don't see that tour when you're not sleeping, when you're around your family. They don't see when you're in there with J.J. White at 4 o'clock in the morning pushing that iron. You know, this is what I'm saying. They got you chasing a dream that you see. I'm not talking about your average dream. I'm not saying that. I'm simply saying they're going to show you these big time dreams that people are after. And this is what they promote, and this is what they have us chasing. Knowing that a majority of us are not going to get to that particular place.
But see, the thing is that, Mr. Jenkins, I understand what you're saying, and that's true. But you have to chase your own dreams. And just like I said, my grandma used to tell me, she'd say, stop telling everybody what you're doing. Because when you tell everybody what you're doing, you don't know if people are praying against you, telling and saying things against you. You just don't know. So what you have to do is follow your dream. And I understand what you're saying, and they is giving us these young people these type of dreams. But you know what? It's gonna always somebody go take a Russell Wilson place. It always gonna be somebody who's gonna take what's the quarterback for New England?
Tom Brady.
It go always somebody come after them.
But before we go, I just still want to get back. Sometimes let's get back to the agenda at hand. The agenda at hand, and people listen to what I'm about to tell you. Agree with me, disagree with me, cuss me, whatever, but please listen to what I'm about to say. Right. Minorities, black, Hispanic, whatever, and some whites. I'm going to tell you about this agenda, and I'm saying it here. The agenda is so wicked, man, at the top, that there are a lot of people, black, brown, and otherwise, that's going to wake up one day and find themselves locked out because the scale of this world is have and have not. There is no middle class anymore, and it's being phased out, people. It is being phased out. And it's going to be a small percentage, and it's not going to be a lot of racism. It's going to be socialism. Either you're going to have it. If you're black and you got it, you in. If you're Hispanic and you got it, you're in. But no matter what you are, if you're not a part of their particular little social club with the money, then you're out, and it won't matter the color.
That's right. You're going to need more than a strong arm. You're going to need more than a wicked jump shot on that basketball court to survive sooner or later. You're going to have a really, really good mentality to survive in this world, even if you're from the hood. You're listening to the Soul 21 Street Radio Show. Stay tuned. Coming up next, we're going to discuss hood survival tips. We're going to give you some great tips to survive in the hood. It's the Soul 21 Street Radio Show. We'll be right back.
This is Malik Jackson, co-host of Soul 21 Street Radio Show. Hit me up on my Facebook page, Facebook Malik Jackson, for any comments or opinions. Thanks for your support.
Every day I'm hustling.
Welcome back to the Soul 21 Street Radio Show. Now, we've been discussing the hood versus the world. We're just going to give you some final thoughts. My final thought for the night is just basically, as you two said before in the last segment, people all over the globe that listen to us every week, just use your common sense and continue to make great decisions and better choices.
What I want to say is my final thoughts is that if you have your dream and you have your visions, and let's go out for all, young men and women that's having that dream and that vision. Keep it up. Don't lose it, no matter what no one say. And follow through, because 90% of success is following through with it. So keep going and keep ahead with it, and wish you much success.
I'm just gonna say this: you want knowledge, seek it. Stop waiting for it to fall in your lap.
Right.
You don't know something, ask. If they don't know, ask somebody else. If somebody asks you something and you don't know something, close your mouth instead of opening and looking like an idiot, for lack of a better term. I'm gonna leave it at that.
Well, there you go. It's been the hood versus the world. You've been listening to the Soul 21 Street Radio Show. Before we leave, I want to shout out several places that I've been hearing from all week long. Baytown, Channelview, Galveston. Shout out to Wisconsin. Shout out to Jamaica. People in Florida. Everybody in Atlanta that's been listening. And of course, New York. We appreciate your support. I want to give a special shout out. I have to mention, I can't close out the show without mentioning our sponsors for tonight's show. French's Chicken and Rice University here in Houston, Texas. It's the Soul 21 Street Radio Show. T.G. Ryans, Malik Jackson, and Arthur Jenkins. We'll see you again next week. Same time. The Soul 21 Street Radio Show. Signing off.